Hello and welcome to another episode of the Grunge Bible Podcast. We are back. We're back. Chris and Ethan Shalloway, Chris Salona, Ethan Shalloway, back again. And Chris, how are your energy levels today?
My energy levels are immaculate. I have to say, right from the get-go, we're sitting down to do this podcast, and I am enjoying a nice cold sarsaparilla, actually, like an actual sarsaparilla, brought to you by the Yacht Club Beverage Company of North Providence, Rhode Island. So
that's better than what I have. I got a Monster.
Yeah, the plain old white Monster. Monster.
People
White
like
Monsters they're good. They're very good.
Yeah, I'm a Monster fan. I'm an original guy. Original Red Bull, original Monster.
Yeah.
Original whatever. And the PT that I go to, the physical therapist, they have this guy that drops off like cases of Monster for them. So
they've got a Monster guy.
Yeah, they got a Monster guy. So I just take some. So I took like 4 today, and they had the white ones. So I was like,
something like that is one of the more invaluable like guys to have, I would say. Like, it's always like the random fringe things that cost a good bit of money. Like if you had like a protein powder guy or like a meat guy. Think of
meats for sure.
The meat guy, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you got somebody like we all have friends or friends of friends, like they work on a farm or something, or like they raise their own cattle, and every so often the meat guy makes a special delivery. So Monster Guy is equally as important, but that's a long-winded way of saying that I'm doing quite well today. I'm excited to get into the sap zone, make a little maple syrup today on the podcast. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I feel like it's a good time to record a pod midweek.
And for once, we're not doing it at midnight.
Yeah, we're getting on top of it, and we're getting ahead, and I think that's why I'm a little energized. It's not like if something came up and we couldn't do it today, we'd be fine.
Right.
So like it just eases the pressure a little bit, and not that we don't produce well under pressure, because we know that we do. But
we've done it before, and we will do it again. Yeah,
but I'm happy to be here. I just shaved my mustache. You're still rocking that.
Yeah, I'm like a month and a half in right now. I don't know. I don't know when I should get rid of it. I feel like I have to keep it for the summer.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, I just cut mine because it's going to grow back. You know, I was like,
it always grows back.
Sometimes you cut your hair just to have some control, you know?
Yeah, just to get some control over something.
Mm-hmm. So today, today we're going to go ahead and talk about, like we said, the EP Sap from AiC in Chains, a short one, 4 songs and 1 hidden track that we'll touch on maybe briefly.
Yes, one very notable hidden track.
And then maybe some concerts we have on deck and just some other musical bits and pieces. But I was thinking, Chris, since we were talking about having guys and having people to, in the niche, like we have some guys and ladies out there that have our back, that that give us what we need to keep going.
We've got a lot of individuals out there that have our back.
Yeah, we got some people in the Patreon zone that we go to that can hook us up and support us each month, and that is incredibly valuable. And we've had a great month. We've had some people ringing the bell, and again, we have a new person that is joining the ranks at the top tier, which is the best tier to be at, because we get to say your name and you're just highly regarded in our, in our minds. So
in our inner circle. Yeah, we get to say their name in perpetuity, for the rest of time, which is really great. And as you had said, or as I had said last week, in the words of Frank Sinatra, it was a very good year. It's been a very good month. A lot of people are getting some skin in the game. We talk about that around these parts. If you enjoy this show, and I mean, this is episode 116, and it's one of those things that if there's a party or like a social gathering, there reaches a point in the day, or a point in the gathering where it's like, oh, like it's too late to go. If I show up now, like there's no point because it's going to end soon. That doesn't apply with the Grunge Bible Podcast. Like, we're just getting started. So if you're out there and you've been listening for a while and you're like, you know what, there's no point in supporting now because they're probably going to end soon. We're not. We're just getting started. We've got another 300 episodes where all this came from. And I'm happy to say, over the last few weeks, if you've been listening, we've had some people join, some people edit their membership to a higher tier. and just people supporting us. So I would like to welcome Sherry Matthews to the top tier of Patreon. We got the notification just a few days ago. So Sherry, we want to thank you, as we did in a message on Patreon. We want to thank you here on this podcast for supporting us. We hope that you continue to enjoy what we do around here in the same way that you enjoyed it enough to get some skin in the game. So Sherry Matthews joins Keith White, Epona, Alex Long, Black Hole Sean, The Blue Owl, Brother Nature, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Doug Endy, Corden Stewart, Kara K, Captain Hightop, Fresh Tendonitis, Fuck Soup, Granny Grunge, Faith Bittner, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Chris LSMS, Carlene Salona, Lauren Irene, Marianne, Millie, What the Fuck's Up Denny's, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Nikki 6, and Rachel Corning. So thank you to the ever burgeoning group of individuals. You know, like you said, everybody's got a guy for something. Like we've got the prototypical or you know, the word is escaping me, but we've got guys.
We've got guys, exactly.
Yeah, we've got guys.
Funny thing, the other day or last week when we were in LA at the meet, one of the meet directors, one of the officials, like, you guys ready? And Maggie, one of my old teammates, she's like, hey, there's ladies too. And I was like, he might be from the Northeast. Like we call it like, we don't use y'all, we use you guys, as, you know?
Right.
So like when we say
or
you guys,
if you're from Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So when we say you guys, we just mean everybody, you know? So
exactly. So
I always find that funny. I always find that interesting because people say y'all and yins.
Well, the thing is, like,
very small group of people say yins.
A very exclusive group of people say yins.
I couldn't do it. I tried. There was a part of me that like wanted to maybe get into that when I lived in Pittsburgh, but it's not something you can just do.
I couldn't possibly say it in good conscience without feeling like a giant phony.
A fake. Yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like, there's people, and I'll do it from time to time. Like. But I don't feel like I'm qualified to say y'all either. But right. I would say, I think in recent years that has it's become more widely accepted outside of the geographical breeding ground for it. Like, I hear more and more people begin to say it. So I don't know if like social media had something to do with it. But yeah, I'll never be like yins. I'm never gonna be a yinzer. I don't know if I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, y'all makes sense. I don't like it. So I try to stay away.
Just call everybody friends. So thank you, friends, for supporting this podcast. And Ethan, you know, we've got a guy, we've got some friends to support us. We have a real estate guy.
We do. We got a guy.
Yeah, we have a real estate guy. Ethan's brother, Quinn Shalloway, is the ultimate real estate headhunter. And if you've been listening for the last 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, Grunge Bible is trying to sell a house. We want to sell your house, and we want to do it through Quinn Shalloway, who is the ultimate realtor. He's a great guy. He's a part of the GB family, and that's what we need to do. So QuinnShalloway@gmail.com. He is your nonstop, just one-stop shop for any sort of real estate advice. He will connect you with the proper people for anything that you want to do in the real estate world. He's done it for many people, and he can and will do it for you. And if he does it for you, you're doing it for us, because we've got a lovely deal. He's given us an offer that we can't refuse. And so when this does happen, because it will happen, it is going to benefit Grunge Bible handsomely. And we will not only be able to get microphones, but we'll be able to get backlights. We'll be able to get artwork. We'll be able to get all that shit that Drew keeps telling us that we need to get to legitimize ourselves. So if you've got some real estate holdings that you want to liquidate, or if you want to buy something, or if you want to do anything in that realm, you could get us what we need.
Yeah, we want to buy it. We want to sell a house, but we're ready to buy too.
We are ready to buy.
We're ready to buy as well. That's the thing. And
it's like the Seinfeld episode when they're talking about Art Vandelay. It's like he's an importer. He's an importer exporter. He does it all. You can't just focus only on the importing. You have to do the exporting too.
He does it all. And it's the best thing. It's a free phone call. It's a free email. And really nothing will happen. No payments until, a deal is done, and then we're all happy. So if you're in that zone of your life, easy way to use a guy that's connected in your circle, help everybody out.
Yep. It's nice and easy. So thank you in advance for your real estate transaction.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely coming.
So message us and we'll get you in contact with him.
Absolutely. Nice and easy. So that's coming down the pipe, but right here and right now, in the words of, I think that was a Jesus Jones song in the 90s. Right here, right now, we've got the Sap Zone. We've got the Sap episode. This, Ethan, has the distinction of being the shortest record, either an LP or an EP, that we have ever reviewed on the Grunge Bible podcast. So like you said earlier at the top of the show, we've got 4 songs plus one incredible and noteworthy and remarkable hidden track. So I think we just need to get right into it. So Sap was released on February the 4th, 1992. So to put this at a time and place, it was post, the explosion of grunge rock that came in late 1991 with Nevermind, and 10 to a lesser extent at the time. As far as Alice in Chains is concerned, this came out, after Facelift, but before Dirt and before everything that would come after that. So as I said, February 4th, 1992. So kicking off 1992 with a nice little acoustic EP. So this EP was recorded in November of 1991 over the span of about a week, and the genesis to this EP is pretty interesting, as in similar ways to how interesting it was, the story behind Jar of Flies, the more notable Alice in Chains EP. So at the time, there was a little movie that was being made called Singles, which you may have heard of. Which we may or may not be doing an episode on at some point in the future. We're going to dangle that carrot real quick. But at the time, it's about grunge rock and grunge and Citizen Dick and all that good shit. So the soundtrack obviously had to fit the subject matter that was being pawned off on the big screen. So, a lot of the notable bands from the era and from the area contributed songs to it. And one of the songs that was contributed to it was from Alice in Chains, and it was Wood. So around this time, they begin to work on that song for the single soundtrack. And, while they're working on that, the band just kind of felt inspired to, keep working on different songs, take advantage of the studio time, because you never really know what's going to come out of it. And it was a pretty remarkable period of creativity for them. They were able to create a lot of demos during that short period of time, many of which ended up becoming the EP Sap, and many of which, you heard later on. I think Rooster was also from this point in time. So, the band is working diligently on the song for the single soundtrack, and they're also kind of experimenting with different things, different roles within the band. Jerry is starting to contribute more vocals at the behest of Lane, and obviously they're experimenting with more acoustic instruments, more kind of delicate songs, certainly coming off of a Facelift type album. And it all starts, once again, any good origin story has an element like what I'm about to mention here. The genesis of the Sap EP, what really got the wheels in motion, was apparently drummer Sean Kinney went to bed one night, as you do. He's probably all cozied up in his little bed with maybe a teddy bear or something like that, and he has a dream. And his dream was that the band created an EP, and it was called Sap. So, as I imagine, he probably rushed into the studio the next day, and he's like, holy fuck, guys, you're never going to guess what just happened. I had a dream that we made an EP called Sap, and the band collectively decided, as they said, to not mess with fate. You're not going to attempt fate, and they're just going to do it. So that was the genesis of it. Sean Kinney had a dream, apparently, and this is very much in the realm of the Kim Thayil, Never the Machine Forever story with, it's a, I don't know if it happened, we have to take their word for it, but that's the story that they stuck with. So they decided that they were going to do it. And as I said, in November of 1991, they went into the studio and they cut these songs, and it was fantastic. As we said, there's a lot of different stylistic differences here. And oddly enough, this kind of lays the foundation for, I think, what a lot of people know Alice in Chains for. I mean, you have the people that are in the Facelift camp, and then you have other people that really, really feel a deep resonation with some of their acoustic stuff. Obviously, the Unplugged concert in '96, and the bedrock of that was really laid, I think, with the Sap EP. And as we said, Lane Staley had been encouraging Jerry Cantrell to sing more, and really for the first time in Alice in Chains' at the time short history, we see Jerry Cantrell take lead vocals and really have a prominent vocal display on this EP, which is really, really cool. Another aspect about this EP that I think is really interesting is they released it without any sort of advertising or promotion. So at the time they decided, they cut the record, they were going to release it on the 4th of February 1992, and what they did, they just sent it to all these record stores, and it was in there, and the people that were going looking for Alice in Chains stuff had a nice little present for them at the time. So I think that's a really, really cool thing, and they had commented on that, saying that they really wanted it to kind of be a gift for the like the connoisseurs of their band, and it certainly was. And this album lived on in a few different iterations. It was re-released in 1995, and notably 2 of the 4 official songs on the album were included and were performed at the Unplugged show in 1996, and that would be the first 2 songs of this EP, which are Brother and Got Me Wrong. So that's a brief gentleman's history of the Sap EP.
Yep. Very well said. Also in, I believe it was in 94, Clerks played Got Me Wrong in there. I don't know. Are you a Clerks fan, Chris? Have you seen the movie? And I think it's Clerks 2 as well, but Clerks 1.
I didn't know that there was a movie called Clerks until I was reading and researching this EP. So that would be a no.
You definitely need to take the time and watch it.
You think it's in my wheelhouse?
I think so. It is quintessential 90s humor, movie store.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just friend groups. It's like kind of small skits, and it's a cult classic. Like it's regarded within the Big Lebowski and Pulp Fiction type of films, and it really is different. It's like it's a different type of movie that I think you'd like. Get home, have yourself, get a pizza, get a soda, get a gummy, something like that.
Nice sarsaparilla and a nice gummy.
And just enjoy it. It's pretty funny. So I forgot. I didn't really think of it until I was reading as well that it was on there. So that's pretty cool. Cool little part to it.
Well, and it is interesting too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that discovered certain songs from film, and I know it happens to me to this day. Another one that I think of, I think there were a lot of people that discovered "Release" by Pearl Jam from "Out of the Furnace." I believe that song is prominently used towards the end of that movie. I think, Ethan, back in the day when you went to Finland for the first time, I think you watched it out there. I remember getting some Snapchats, and you're like, "Holy shit! Release has saved me yet again." So
that was such a good time. We should maybe we could do an episode on that time. I wonder if I have some go back to my notepad and see talk about some of those times.
Yeah. If that time didn't happen, we wouldn't have Grunge Bible.
100%.
And we'll have to shed some more light on that. But what do you say? We get into this? So we only have 4 songs, so we gotta make them last here a little bit, or we can just burn through them.
I say we're good. Yeah, we'll just do normal stuff.
We can just rip through them. So let's start from the top here. We're gonna start with Brother. Notably, this features vocals from Ann Wilson of Heart, which is a really, really cool aspect to this song, and one that I've always appreciated. This one is really, really chilling, and as I said, kind of setting the foundation for a lot of what you would find on Jar of Flies, and a lot of the mood that I think existed in the room at Unplugged. You can start to see Alice in Chains' capabilities to create those types of environments and those types of moments on the Sap EP, and it starts right from the top with this song written by Jerry Cantrell. As I said, taking lead vocals really for the first time, and he was writing this song about the relationship that he had with his younger brother. And this song is, in a way, I look at it as kind of a companion with Rooster, in the sense that, it's from Jerry Cantrell's perspective, kind of speaking to his experiences with his family. So in the Music Bank box set in 1999, he wrote some notes, about Brother, and he was kind of saying, what this song was about. And he said, "Ours was a divorced family. I was the older brother, and we had a sister in the middle. As you know, when you're a kid, there's no way you want to hang out with your 4-year younger brother. You'll take care of the guy if someone's trying to kick his ass, but other than that, you don't want to know. I think I was really hard on him, especially without my father around. David," meaning his younger brother, "had nobody. He split to live with my dad, and we didn't see much of each other for a good 6 or 7 years. That song was about the time we were apart. And like Rooster, was with my dad, it was a way of trying to build a bridge. And I think, Jerry has spoken quite expansively on Rooster, and it's interesting to kind of hear that, as it relates to Brother. And I think even without knowing that background, you can glean that directly from a lot of these lyrics. And it's just, it's a really, really, we use this word a lot with Alice in Chains. It's a really heavy song. And I think when you use the word heavy with Alice in Chains, it can mean two different things. They bring really, really heavy riffs in your face, but also the subject matter, time and time again is really the sort of thing that really stops you in your tracks. And I think a lot of these themes that are present are unfortunately very common, I think, in family life or relationships, with people that you love. And this is no different from that.
Yeah, I wrote down the lyric, roses in a vase of white, bloodied by the thorns beside the leaves that fall beside my hand, is pulling them hard as I can. And I love the visual of that, of grabbing the thorns next to the leaves and bloodying my hand because I'm pulling them so hard. And, something, so beautiful as a flower that still has thorns that you want to access, but say talking about family dynamic or however you want to bring it back. And it's a strong song. I love when artists speak on it and give a little insight and stuff. So that is really special. When I looked up the 2006 version with Ann Wilson in Seattle. They played, and wow, what she really adds something special to something special to it. And Lane has a higher pitched voice. So having Anne come in and add a female vocal it fits so well because she's obviously extremely talented and strong in her delivery. So it just meshed so well. They were calling her Queen Anne, which is a portion of Seattle, like an outside neighborhood that is actually called Queen Anne. So it's kind of cool because it shows the connection that to Seattle. And I think later when we get to Right Turn, obviously have multiple bands and people, Alice in Mud Garden. So the connection in the city for this EP is really cool.
Strong.
And, it's really strong, and it just shows the ties that the music scene had during that time, which is why we love it.
Absolutely. One other aspect just about the lyrics, and I think it's such a masterful job of songwriting. Jerry Cantrell, as I said, writing it from the perspective about his relationship with his younger brother. I think when you go through tumultuous times with people that you love, and especially family members, there's a certain totality of blame that you place, whether it's it's all or nothing, like it's either all their fault or it's all your fault, and it's never really anywhere in the middle. And I love what they do in the chorus. It begins the first time through, "You were always so far away. I know that pain, so don't you run away like you used to do." And then the next time it comes around, it says, "I know that pain. I won't run away like I used to do." And it's kind of like with the passing of years, and certainly with what he wrote about it in the Music Bank box liner notes, there's kind of a realization that it's not entirely his fault. And, with the understanding, maybe I was too hard on him, and it wasn't, he didn't run away. Maybe I didn't create or help to create an environment, welcoming and safe enough for this person. And I think that perspective, is really, really powerful, especially looking back, because you do lose time. So this song is such a great, cautionary tale, I would guess, but just, an example. You lose time, and it's really special if you're able to look back and realize, certain responsibilities that you had, and if you have the opportunity to make it right, I think it's really important and it's special to do that, and you feel better afterwards. My last thought with Brother, of the entire Unplugged show, it's impossible to beat Nutshell, obviously, but the third verse when they sing at Unplugged, when they sing "Pictures in a box at home, yellow and green with mold, so I can barely see your face, wonder how that color tastes." It's dead quiet, and the harmony between Lane, a very sick Lane, and Jerry Cantrell is one of the more haunting moments, I think, in Alice in Chains' history, and it's right here on that song.
Second song in the EP, "Got Me Wrong." This is great. This one also Jerry talks about, the relationship where one person thinks they can fix another. And everybody's gotten into those type of situations where you're thinking you're being the good guy or the good girl, and being able to help someone through their pain. And it shows the difference in how, the genders react, and how we deal with that type of stuff, and how we view and kind of accept it. And it's good. This is, I wrote down, the duality here is of Lane and Jerry's vocals is about as different as you're going to get, going through. And that's why everybody loves this band, is because two totally different sounding people come together and create something that sounds awesome. And it's just done so well. And that is this song to a T.
Yeah, it's so impressive. And I think when you get to this point, they're playing with acoustic instruments, so those voices have so much more real estate that they can cover, because you're taking away a lot of these plugged in elements to the songs. And the pre-chorus and the chorus of this, just the way that Lane just kind of cuts in and just soars above everything. I always think of, when the song where, that don't last forever, and then you hear Lane hit that forever, and Jerry's holding his note, but Lane is just going way up high, and everything stops in time for Jerry to sing Something's Gotta Turn Out Right. This song is as good as any that you'll find in their catalog to showcase the ability that they had. And I love that you mentioned kind of the elements of opposites being so complementary. And, I think that's true in so many different settings and human relationships, and also in art. And the juxtaposition there is really, really powerful. And also, I got to talk about the strumming on this song. This song is a fucking strumming powerhouse. This one's so fun to play. It's like one of the only things I can play that sounds good. And this song's super, super fun. It's fast paced. It's a great mover, and it's a really, really brilliant song. As that's all Jerry Cantrell does, and he's still doing it. He's just writing brilliant things. He just has a knack for writing things that just stick with you in your ear, and stick with you in your mind. And he certainly did that on the Sap EP.
One lyric that I want to point out, it says, sugar's taste, and then it says sweetness doesn't often touch my face. And I don't know, that's one of those, it's one of those lyrics that stick out for some reason. Sweetness doesn't often touch my face. It's like, for some reason, it's just very strong. And I don't know, when people feel like they're really down, when something comes around, or when they feel like they're in a good spot, it really, is important, because it doesn't happen often. So I don't know. I wrote that one down. I was just like, it's a good one.
So unsure we reach for something strong. That's another great one. Yeah, really, really, really impressive song. As we move into the back half now, we're already at number 3. This is the penultimate song. This is one that is it's gotten a fair amount of airtime on the Grunge Bible podcast, and that would be "Right Turn" by Alice in Chains, accredited to Alice Mudgarden, because, as we know well by now, hopefully, if you've been paying attention, it features Mark Arm of Mudhoney and Chris Cornell of Soundgarden, both of them providing vocals on this. And this song it's just a treat, I think, for any fan of grunge rock, any fan of just the Seattle scene at the time, and just really, really impressive music. This song is such a treat. It's such a gem that we have, and you think about like all the moving parts, that existed at the time, and how busy different people were, and also how limited we were in the lifespan of some of these people to be able to come together for moments like this. I think it's so special that this one exists. Like that last minute of this song is, it's incredible. I don't even really know what else there is to say, what other superlatives you could give it, but it's just this absolutely unreal coming together of majorly talented dudes that ruled Seattle at the time. When Chris Cornell comes in, after the consistent, like, "We Ain't Right," and then he hits that "It's Hard to Believe Somebody Tricked You," and you can hear Mark doing his thing in the background, and Lane just flying in at different points. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one again is like a treat for everybody that loves
It's a
the
tasty
scene.
little treat.
Again, like I said, it shows the camaraderie between everybody in that city. And this one's a tough one too because of the subject matter. Obviously, being about addiction, kind of unromanticized talking about it. It's very harsh, and I think Lane started having trouble in '91. So this is soon after he got into it, and some say maybe it could be about Andrew Wood and that period of time, but it's early on in the stages for Lane, and so yeah, it's kind of a little uneasy feeling when you can listen to it and put it in a time and place, but
yeah, it totally is.
The ending is quite great.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that somebody tricked you when you can see you were only high. It's all up to you, so you gamble flat on your face and into the fire. I mean, it doesn't get more scalding than that. I mean, and just kind of speaking to the fact of how disorienting a lot of these issues and struggles that they had, it can distort your reality. It can put you into some pretty tough situations. And in this one too, it's the seriousness of the subject matter of this song is only matched, I think, by the just vocal unbelievability that's on display here. It's one of those that, you kind of don't pay attention to what they're singing just because it sounds so good. And I
fall trapped to that a lot.
Yeah, it took me a long time, and I'm always a lyrics person. Like, it took me a long time to actually think about and listen to these lyrics because I couldn't get over how complimentary everybody's voices were towards the end of this one. But once I got there, it's it's like you said, some really, really heavy stuff. And keeping with the Alice in Chains tradition of discussing the heavy things, the final song on the EP is a song called Am I Inside? And this was Lane Staley's singular lyrical contribution to this EP. He wrote the lyrics for this one, and I think this foreshadows not foreshadows really, but is just a continuation of a lot of what we see Lane write about when he does write lyrics for Chains songs. And this one, it starts out, loneliness, it shadows me quicker than darkness, crawls to the surface of my skin, visibly surrounded by it. Black is all I feel, so this is how it feels to be free. And this one is it's a really delicate song. It's really intricate in the different parts. Ann Wilson is included in this one as well, which once again adds a really, really great element. Such a special element and such a more notable in a different flavor, in addition to what Jerry and Lane could do together. I think including Ann Wilson here is really, really special. And this one, it's one of those things, with Lane and knowing, with 31 years in the rear view of this one, and Lane having been dead for 11 years now. It's really sad. It's oftentimes, and we say the same thing about Chris Cornell, and people say the same thing about Kurt Cobain, and anybody who's passed and who's struggled and succumbed to certain struggles. It's right there, and you can read it, in plain English on the sheet, what they've been struggling with, and it's always impressive. I always say this, but it's true. These guys could write so honestly about the things that they were struggling with and the things that their peers were struggling with. And that they could take something that's so destructive and so painful for them and turn it into something beautiful through song, which is a magic trick of which the likes I will never be able to do. And I don't understand, how they do it, but they do it. And these guys did it all the time. Yeah.
Pointing out, Ann Wilson again, I think she's just so perfect. It's a beautiful, beautiful addition. And this song I wrote down, obviously it's very haunting. And then I put comforting with a question mark next to it. I feel like it's one of those songs that when you're struggling, you can listen to. And although it's very deep and heavy, I hadn't listened to this song in a while. So going back to it, I was like, wow, this is such a, it's a ballad of sorts, and it really does have a lot to offer. And I also wrote down, I wonder, if you're a teenager and you get this EP and it finishes with this, like what that does to a young listener, and somebody that is, in their teens and trying to figure things out. And obviously there's a lot of peer pressure and there's stuff going on. And I actually texted Andy Engelman because I know that he's obviously a huge Sap and Alice fan, so he hasn't responded yet, but I want to be like, what was this like getting as a kid and listening to it?
Yeah.
And like, where was your mind during that time? Because that's something that, we weren't anticipating no one was anticipating this, I guess. It was a
right.
release the way it was, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of put myself there and I was like, I wonder what this would be like. So that was kind of my thought process.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love kind of once again, in a similar way that it was, it struck me with Brother and just the way that the words are changed, towards the end of this song, it repeats miles beside himself, miles below himself, miles behind himself. Am I inside myself? And yeah, that's one of those, when you try to deconstruct the meaning, you almost don't know how to verbalize, what it might mean to you, but it is, I think something like that is particularly powerful. And this is a good one. I overlook it all the time. I'm really guilty because of the first 3 songs that are on this. They get 90% of your attention, but if you can take that last 10% and maybe spread it out and spend some more time with the song like Am I Inside, you'll come away with a new appreciation for it, and you'll be affected by it. And that's what these musicians do for us. They affect us and they teach us something through their music. And Alice in Chains did that consistently throughout their career, and they continue to do it. And they also did it on the lovely hidden track on Sap. So I just need to Ethan, I'm not, you probably know this, but so the hidden track is a incredible powerhouse of a song called Love Song, and I would just like to introduce the starting lineup. On vocals, we had Sean Kinney. On drums, we had a fellow named Lane Staley. On bass guitar, we had a man named Jerry Cantrell, and on regular 6-string guitar, we had Mike Starr.
Yeah. They switched it up.
They hit us with that Uno reverse card. Sean Kinney also hopping on the piano and contributing the most important megaphone contributions to this song. And I have no idea the conditions in the studio that led to them switching places like that, creating a song, and also sticking with it long enough to cut it and put it as a hidden track on this record. But I love that they did it. I think this is Alice in Chains' version of My Second Album by STP. And it kind of starts like that. This kind of sounds like, I don't even know how to describe the way it begins, and then it just becomes this like
chaos.
Really wild, thrashy, just like
polka, like
yeah, exactly. It's like a polka.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty strange. I heard like Avenged Sevenfold has a lot of weird stuff that they do, where they're playing the piano and somebody's like pleading in the background, and that's kind of how this is. And then it gets like punky, and I think it's the fact that they're all playing different instruments too. They kept it,
which is really fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where there's a lot of times when bands do stuff and it's like, oh yeah, they're just having fun here. They wanted to produce something super weird, and they were like, yeah, let's just put it out there for fun. And like, we have it, it's ours. Like, so I respect it. I love that people do this.
Yeah, I respect.
It's wild. It's just.
I think I would go as far to say that I revere this one. And a really good YouTube comment on one of the postings of this song. This is by a commenter named Chuck McGill. So Big Chuck says, "Imagine someone listening to this as the first Alice in Chains song that they listened to." And seriously. I hope that there's somebody out there that had that experience, because number one, just how strange everything sounds, because they're all playing instruments that they didn't typically play. Secondly, the person singing, never sang. And third of all, the lyrics, dude.
The lyrics
get the midget, get the fucking midget, where the deer and the antelope play. What does that even mean? And then they want you to kiss the midget. You got to kiss
them. Cut my teeth out. My gums are bleeding, or whatever. Yeah, make me grin.
I'm not coming back, bitch. I think I should say something. I can't see, I can't feel anything. This This is like Bizarro World type stuff. I mean, this
and it's
is
titled Love Story.
And it's titled, yeah, which what type of deranged love story this is, love song this is. I don't know. This is one that I wasn't aware that it existed for a while into my AiC fandom, and then when I learned about it, I'm just like, what the fuck? And it's funny, so like when we started to prep for this episode, I didn't remember it, but then I went back on YouTube to find it, and I had seen that I had listened to it before, because like the progress bar was full, and I had liked some comments on some of the postings of it, but I don't know how I ever could have forgotten about this one. This is something that you hear, and I don't know that you ever recover from that experience. And my condolences to people that do, because it changes your world, and I don't think the world looks the same after you listen to Love Song by Alice in Chains.
Sounds like the end of a Fish concert in there.
Where Trey's got like 4 guitars strapped on him.
Oh, Chris, you'll love, yeah, exactly. And someone's playing just a snare drum. Like, yeah. Dude, I was listening to the Ryan Russillo podcast, and he was talking about, he's a jam band guy. He's talking about a Fish concert, and you're going to love this. I've been wanting to tell you. But he said, after the show, everybody's out there doing nitrous, and they have balloons and whatnot. And he said that somebody's out there, and they hit the balloon, and like all of a sudden they like fell over and started seizing up.
Holy shit!
Which I think happens a lot with the combination of those things, because it takes away all the brain, or all the air from your brain. But
sounds about right.
And so someone call the ambulance, or like, what should we do? And then a guy like put out his hand. He's like, hold on. He's like, let him fish. And I fucking love that. Dude,
Holy shit.
He's just fishing, dude. Let him go.
Let him fish, man.
Let him fish.
That is incredible.
Let him fish.
You just gotta let him fish sometimes. And you had to let Alice in Chains fish on Love Song.
Yes, exactly. That's
you
what it was.
You just had to do it. And I love at the end, you can hear somebody say, "That was perfect, you guys. That was great." I mean, it was.
I wonder if they've ever done this live. Like,
I hope to God that they haven't, because I fear for the condition of the crowd after something like this. But
if you catch the right crowd, they're gonna love it.
Yeah, in the same way that I said
with nitrous.
In the same way that I expressed my gratitude for something like Right Turn existing, I express equal degrees of gratitude for this existing, but for entirely different reasons. This is a good one, and I'm glad that it's out there. I'm glad careful.
I'm glad we spent the most time on it.
Yeah, exactly. We spent like 3 minutes on Right Turn, and here we are dedicating most of the episode to Love Song.
This is the way it falls sometimes. You have more things to say about.
This is the way that it happens on the Grunge Bible podcast.
It's tough when we're talking about songs that are incredibly well known, incredibly listened to. Everybody said these things like, the harmony, like, listen to Chris sing, like, I mean, what can you say? But then you get something like this that's not talked about, and you get
everything has already been said about that stuff. I mean, how many times can I say that I'm a lyrics guy, or how many times can I talk about the subject matter, or anything like that? And then you just gotta let it rip with Love Song. So that's what we do around here.
So that is Sap, 1992.
That is Sap.
EP, and really happy to have it. Our buddy Eric Lederman said that he was gifted the double vinyl with Sap and Jar of Flies, and I think that's super badass. That is so cool. If I were to be able to get my hands on that, that's really I think the best way to have them both is together, because it makes an incredible full length. Go out, listen to Sap, enjoy, and listen to Love Story.
Listen to that hidden track. So we want to thank you for taking some time to listen to our discussion of Sap. If you would like to support us, as we mentioned at the beginning, we do have a little thing called Patreon, which is the best way to support us. It's been a really, really good stretch. We've been able to ring the bell, I think, 2 or 3 weeks in a row. So get some skin in the game and keep that streak going. Let's keep those good vibes going. But otherwise, we do, if Patreon is a little too intangible for you, we do have something that you can grab onto and something you can hold close to you. Multiple different things, and those can all be found on the Grunge Bible merchandise store, which is very conveniently linked in the show notes. And Ethan, if I may, I'd like to share the most recent story that I've heard as it relates to our merchandise.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
So our top level Patreon supporter, Eddie Vedder, got me through my second divorce. Very recently, I was chatting with him, and he's like, "I need to call you right now. Something incredible just happened. Something like you're gonna shit a brick when you hear this." I was like, "All right, like lay it on me." And he calls me. He's like, "Hey, so I was at a bar with my friend, and I was wearing my Grunge Bible T-shirt because he's a good person and he has some skin in the game. So he's a Patreon supporter and he bought merch." So he's sitting there and he's like, "Yeah, I wear my Grunge Bible T-shirt. Like it's in my regular rotation. Like I wear it, and I wore it out to this bar. It was like, afternoon. Like I just like grabbed a drink with a friend, and he's sitting there, and the way he described it, I believe this gentleman who kind of looked like the Gorton's fisherman, walks up to him and says to him, not even like, not even like, "Hey, hello, how are you?" He's like, "What's Grunge Bible?" My friend, I forget the way. I think my friend, the way he describes it to people, he's like, "Oh, like one of my friends writes about music for this website or something," and that's what it's called, which is a very easy way to describe it. It's nice and simple. And I shit you not, Ethan, Gorton responds after that. He's like, "Do they write about Mudhoney?" He was like, "Do they write about Mudhoney?" And my friend was like, "Yeah, like they." He's like, "Obviously, because Mudhoney is the only real grunge band, and, they influence so many different things." And then this guy is off to the races. Like, he starts on this really long diatribe about how, like, the British invasion inspired a lot of the younger songwriters, and you had the Who and the Stones, and obviously the Beatles. So, like, it wasn't just Mudhoney, and there were other bands and everything like that. And, like, my friend is just like, "All right, like, I gave you what you wanted. Like, I'm not, like," and he was also, he's like, "Chris, like, I only know what I know about grunge because I just listen to the podcast and I follow the page. Like, I'm not like an enthusiast." So he's like, "I don't have the bat speed to have a conversation about the seminal influences behind the movement of grunge rock with the Gorton's fishermen." So it was just one of those situations where, you give the guy as much line as he needs to go where he wants to go, and then you just snip it and send him on his way.
The Gorton's
could you imagine
fishermen.
if somebody walks up to you, "Do they write about Mudhoney?"
That is amazing. And he
so
gave him
fucking perfect.
He responded in the perfect manner to really set him off and get him running.
Because he was like, "Chris," he's like, "I had to." He's like, "In Grunge Bible lore, like you have to anytime it's mentioned, the only real grunge band." So that is basically one. I wanted to tell that story because it's funny, but also that is the perfect way, and that's exactly how I would hope Grunge Bible community members carry themselves. They're not afraid to get skin in the game, and they're not afraid to go to bat for a band like Mudhoney. Despite whatever nautical presence in front of them might disagree. So I'm very thankful for that story. I'm very thankful for the support of Eddie Vedder. Got me through my second divorce.
That's right. Yeah, he does it all, man. He listens. He's a Patreon supporter, and then also wears the merch. That's awesome.
What more could you ask for?
The Trinity. That's about it.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Shout out to our producer, Drew McFadden, for always doing a wonderful job, buzzer beater to buzzer beater. He's got that clutch gene in him. So thank you very much. Without you, it would not be possible. We got a new intro coming. I'm not sure if it happened on this one. He's been sending us back and forth.
Yeah, but, it's I hope we get some advance notes. Maybe next week.
So take some time and listen to the intros. There was one in the first 45 episodes before we got the second one or something like that. And then we roll with the second one. Now we got third. So Drew produces not only all the sound edit or does all the sound editing, but he also does our intros. And he's very talented when it comes to writing. So next time, take a listen to the intro a little more in depthly, and know that Drew is producing that. That's homegrown, baby.
And you guys are gonna love this next one.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna love it.
Yeah, the next one's always
Ethan,
the best.
We've had 3 intros. We had a special edition one-off for episode 69
for the Drew McFadden show. Oh no, that was yeah.
Yeah, we had episode 69, a funky one. So that'll have to come around for episode 696 again.
169.
So, exactly. So what do you say we get some songs of the week on paper and we get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You got one on hand, on deck?
Yeah, I do have one. This is one that I wasn't going to include, but I think I wanted to make it my song of the week a few weeks ago, but I think it was an album review, and we ended up picking a couple from the album, so I had forgotten about it, but I'm glad that I came back to it. I heard it in the car last night when I was driving home. We're going to go back to, Ethan, I believe you picked one of their songs a couple of months ago, Silver Jews. I'm going to pick Trains Across the Sea from their album Starlight Walker. This song, maybe about a month ago, I heard it at a time when I needed to hear a song like it, and it just really, it's just one of those songs that, you listen to music for a long time like us, and you spend a lot of time in your day listening, and like you feel like, the highs come fewer and fewer, because like you've heard a lot of stuff, and like it's not every day anymore that like a song deeply affects you that you haven't heard before. And this one really got to me. I don't really know why. It's just the delivery and the way it sounds, and just some of the abstract themes that exist on this one are just really, they affected me. Some of the lyrics: half hours on earth, what are they worth? I don't know. In 27 years, I've drunk 50,000 beers, and they just wash against me like the sea into a pier. And the strumming is so complimentary of the lyrics, and it's just a really, really special song. And I'm grateful that I was able to have an experience with it, and I was able to come across it at a time where I needed a song like that. So I'm gonna make that my song of the week.
Great choice, great band. Glad we're gonna diving into them, listen to them a little bit more. They're really awesome.
Yeah.
For my song,
David Berman was so special. I mean, he was really, really incredible.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I really appreciate listening to that and thinking about him. My song is going to be off "You Can't Stop the Bum Rush" by Len, 1999. "Steal My Sunshine," and it's been playing. We played it a few times when we're out training, and it's one of my favorite summer songs. It's got this, it's got a really upbeat track with some, bottle popping type noises or something, and it's just a fun summer song, and I love it. It's one of my favorite 90s rock songs, right on the buzzer beater, 1999. So, yep, I'm throwing it on there. It's great.
Hell yeah, man. I like that.
Oh, you just sent me something from Tom Berlin, I see.
I did, yeah. She's supporting Ray LaMontagne on tour, which I really, really loved Ray LaMontagne back when I was in college. So I might have
Ray
to go.
LaMontague.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I've got a really full. September is becoming a busy month for me for concerts, but we're running short on time. So I think inevitably we'll probably do an episode just about
we'll save
our concerts this year. Yeah, we'll keep everybody waiting.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all I got, Chris. If that's all you have.
That's all I have.
All right, guys. So lastly, thank you again for listening. Please share. Please continue to listen and follow along, and give us some feedback. That's all we can ask for.
That's it. We can ask for that and your money too.
Right.
So
that's true.
We're asking for that as well.
Yep. Kiss the midget. In the words of Love Story.
Get that midget and kiss him.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We love you, and we'll talk to you same time, same place next week.
Thanks, everybody. See you then.
Good night, Canada.
Loud love. Good night, Canada.
Rock and roll.